Go ahead and get started with the day's news. We begin in Southern California, where mandatory evacuations have been issued ahead of a major winter storm expected to bring heavy rain and mudslides to the region. Residents have spent the last few days sandbagging in areas recently devastated by wildfires. Forecasters say the storm could also bring heavy snowfall in the Sierra. And rural America is getting more connected. At an American Farm Bureau Federation conference on Monday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to expand broadband access in rural areas. Nearly 23 million rural Americans lack access to high-speed internet service. The executive order directs the Department of the Interior to develop a plan to allow private high-speed broadband companies to co-locate their equipment on interior infrastructure. The Interior Department owns as much as 83% of the land in some western states. Here in Montana, more than 70% of the state is covered with high-speed broadband internet, but 50,000 Montanans still have no wired internet providers where they live. Authorities believe two young Billings girls are in danger after they were taken by their non-custodial mother. Billings police say 4-year-old Maya Cleveland and 1-year-old Ryan Cleveland were taken on Monday by 35-year-old Amanda Dobson, who is known to use methamphetamine. She stands 5'8", is 165 pounds, with blue eyes and blonde hair. Authorities do not know which direction or what type of vehicle they are traveling in. Anyone with any information on the whereabouts of the two little girls are asked to contact Billings police. Continuing our coverage, the Lovell, Wyoming man accused of murdering his wife was allegedly plotting the death for days and even wrote journal entries on his plan to get even. 48-year-old Donald Kraus made his initial court appearance in Bighorn County Circuit Court Monday and was charged with first-degree murder. The victim, 49-year-old Carol Barnes, was stabbed to death in an apartment on West 7th Street in Lovell. Barnes' son asked officers to conduct a welfare check after she sent him a text for help. Officers arrived to find Barnes dead in the living room and nearby handwritten letters signed and dated by Kraus. In one note dated 4 days before the murder, Kraus said he feared he missed his opportunity to kill Barnes. He writes, quote, "I pray she shows up with the oil for dinner and that I didn't miss my chance when I backed out both times. I just need to have this last chance and I won't mess it up. I'll get the job done." Back here in Montana, opening statements are expected to begin today in a trial for a man accused of raping a young Billings girl multiple times. 22-year-old Tristan Morales is charged in Yellowstone County District Court with 1 count each of rape and tampering with evidence. Prosecutors say Morales raped the victim twice, once when she was 3 years old and again when she was 8. When questioned by detectives, Morales allegedly admitted to the rape but blamed his actions on others. Morales also reportedly said he did not want to register as a sex offender because it could hurt his chances of becoming a school counselor. In other news, a $1.4 billion pipeline to transport natural gas liquids from eastern Montana to Kansas would be in service by the end of 2019 under a proposal by Tulsa-based energy company ONEOK. The Elk Creek Pipeline would have the capacity to transport up to 240,000 barrels of natural gas liquids per day from a terminal near Sidney to Bushton, Kansas, crossing the states of Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado along the way. The company says additional pumping facilities could expand the pipeline's capacity to 400,000 barrels a day. ONEOK president and CEO Terry Spencer says the new pipeline is critical to help producers meet natural gas capture targets in effect across the Williston Basin. Right now, North Dakota produces more than 400,000 barrels of natural gas liquids each day, including propane and butane. That production is expected to double by 2030. ONEOK currently operates a 37,000-mile network of pipelines transporting natural gas and natural gas liquids. The firm also has processing plants and other facilities in the Williston Basin as well as the Gulf Coast region. Back here in Billings, the West End will not see a new gymnastics facility after the city council voted down a zone change last night. The facility would have sat at the corner of 41st Street West and Avenue C. Residents opposed the zone change not because of the facility itself, but the possibility of it opening opportunity for future bars or casinos. Some took issue with the traffic in the area. Council agreed there needs to be more opportunities available for youth activity, but this was not the right location. The zone change was rejected 10-1. Billings has lost a man who dedicated half of his life to helping the community. The Montana Rescue Mission announced the death of Gary Drake, its longest-serving executive director. Drake died Sunday after fighting a second battle with lymphoma. He devoted more than 30 years of his life to helping the homeless and poor in Billings. Drake served as a board member at the Rescue Mission from 1985 to 1992 and was then hired as its executive director from 1992 to 2010. Those involved with the mission say he was one of the most kind-hearted people they ever met, and his legacy will continue. Drake was just 64 years old. Meanwhile, in Glacier National Park, this past summer, Montana lost one of its most historic buildings, the Sperry Chalet, to wildfire. Now, U.S. Senator John Tester has an idea of how to replace it while keeping some history in the new building. On Monday, Senator Tester asked the architect of the Capitol Christmas tree to have it hauled back to Montana to help rebuild the Sperry Chalet. The 79-foot Engelmann spruce came from the Kootenai National Forest, and it wasn't too far from the Sperry Chalet. Not only would it give some personality to the new structure, Tester says it will also allow the historic tree to remain in Montana for years to come.
I can think of no better way than to use some Montana lumber from our Capitol Christmas tree to assist in that rebuilding. I'd like to see this tree go back to Big Sky Country, where it can continue giving to the people to whom our public lands belong.
And our last story for this Tuesday, if it sounds too good to be true, then it is. That's the warning from State Auditor Matt Rosendale about a new scam making the rounds on Facebook. The scheme, called the Friendsgiving Network, involves recruiting friends to buy into a pyramid for $100. Once the pyramid has the necessary number of participants, the person at the top walks away with $800. The two people at the second tier branch off into their own respective pyramids, and the process repeats itself with the people at the bottom losing everything that they've invested.